Gonna start in a few seconds. Today we're talking to Fritz. He's a gamer. I like to think so, and he knows a lot of games about games, and it's surely going to be a very interesting conversation. So Fritz, um, our first question will be, what in your memory is your favorite game of all time so far?
Oh god, that's a tough question to tackle there. That's a big question to start off with. My favorite game. I'd probably have to say currently it's Dark Souls 1. I
Really?
just,
Okay.
yeah, it whenever I first started playing the game, it really brought into light like what games I liked the most. And it was games kind of like, Dark Souls 1 where there's challenge and it's very skill based, if you will. So I'd have to say that's my current favorite is Dark Souls 1, and if not Dark Souls 1, just one of the Souls games in general.
And how many Souls games have you played?
I played Dark Souls 1, and I've played Dark Souls 2. I haven't played Demon Souls because I don't have a PS3. I have a PS4, so I played Bloodborne, which isn't actually a Souls game, but it's a Souls-like and made by From Software. And then I'm going to be getting Dark Souls 3 whenever it comes out, so that's going to be fun.
And generally, when you play a video game, do you put in a lot of hours, or just you just wanna go around once, or just do you play enough to get a feel of the game, or do you want to? Are you gonna invest enough time to go in depth and go around the game many times?
It depends on the game. It's usually a matter of if the game pulls my interest enough. Usually, yeah, I'll go through a game at least once and just experience the whole game. But if the game really like I'm really interested into a game, I'll play hundreds upon hundreds of hours and just learn everything about it.
I think you've played thousands of hours on some games, if I remember
Yeah,
correctly.
definitely.
Okay.
All over thousands.
How many games have you played over 1,000 hours?
Um, let's see. Probably about four or five that I've legitly played over 1,000 hours. Um, Skyrim would be one of them, and then definitely Dark Souls 1 and Dark Souls 2. And I think Bloodborne's getting up there now.
And Terraria, I think.
Yeah, Terraria. There's some hours that aren't recorded on there, so I think it's about 1,000-ish. And then definitely Minecraft as well, over 1,000.
And would you
So
say you
yeah.
prefer strategy games or immersive games or
I really like RPGs. Something that gives me a choice that kind of immerses me in games. Yeah, strategy isn't all. I I don't get super invested into strategy. I'm just not all too good with them, and I've never spent the time to get good at them.
do you have a way of classifying games or in your head, or
Uh,
do you think about, oh, okay, this game has strategy, this game has role playing, this game has, or do you
yeah.
do you go
I
2D or 3D, or what's your favorite way
well,
of classifying games?
my favorite way of classifying games is genre. Really, like I don't look too deep into like super specifics about the games. Like, oh, this is an RPG, co-op, split screen, and so forth. I don't go super deep into that. I go like oh, it's a scary game and it's first person. That's as deep as I really go.
Okay.
Like, I, I tend not to classify games in my mind all too much. I just know what the game is. It's kind of weird to describe. Probably not the best of answers.
Okay. So if you okay,
Yeah.
doesn't really matter.
Oh.
uh, so I'm trying to think of from the point of view of a listener. Uh,
Hmm.
when you browse new games, what piques your curiosity? What elements are you looking for or searching for, or that will grab you? That you.
Usually it's something new. I'm always looking for something new in a game that I haven't really seen before, or that I've like haven't seen much of. So like if I see a game and it's the exact same thing as another game, just maybe it's in a different uh, genre. Like instead of like fantasy, it's like I don't know, realistic kind of world, but like it still has the same gameplay elements. I more or less probably won't be interested in it. But if it's completely different and like it brings new gameplay aspects to the table, I'll definitely take a look at it.
And what is it between? Because I know that Dark Souls 1, 2, and 3, well, 3 we don't know yet, and Bloodborne are very similar. So what is it in those three games that say Dark Souls 1, 2, and Bloodborne that will make you play those three games over 100 hours
Um, I
separately?
find the gameplay mechanics in the way you generally just fight in the game very addicting. Sure, like Dark Souls 2 and Bloodborne didn't bring anything overly like new to the series, but I just liked the gameplay of it. I like the combat mechanics. There we go. It was different than most games I had played in the past, and I'm going to keep playing them because it's probably my favorite mechanics in most games as of recent.
Um, just gonna check here Bloodborne on Steam just for the fun of it. Or Dark Souls 2, I mean. Okay. Well, before we go any further, I would like to know,
Hmm.
for you, what's the most important thing about video games? Because there's no way for me to ask you that. I don't know you well enough to ask, like one or two or three questions based on your knowledge of video games. So I'm just gonna ask a general question. What the fuck is it between you and video games?
Like, what do I like about video games and what keeps me coming back to them?
Yeah, well, there's an attraction there. There's a curiosity
Um,
or an interest, or you
I just,
specifically.
I just like how, what honestly gets me playing video games is the most is the fact that it's kind of like reading a book, watching a movie, and other forms of like art, like all together at one that you can like control, and you're actually thrusted into the worlds, and you're able to influence it in your own ways. Sure that some games don't have overarching storylines and they're just randomness, but I still find being in the world and being able to interact in something new every time I load up a game. Really fun and intriguing, if you will.
Okay, but you don't think about those things when you're playing the game.
No, I don't. But it's hard to describe what attracts me to games the most. I just find them fun.
So is there during your play time is there a goal in the forefront of your mind, or is it just entertainment or
Um, I wouldn't say there's much of a goal besides entertainment. A lot of times I do go into games solely for the purpose of learning about the aspects of the game, so that like whenever I do go and start, getting into the game industry and start creating my own games and stuff like that, I'd have a bit more experience on what's good and bad in a game. But most of the time, yes, it is for entertainment. It's been with me my entire life. I've been playing video games since very young, so I've just been keeping at it.
could you say what age you started playing video games? Like when was it that you remember that it was more than just 5 minutes, like
Right. It'd probably be around the time that I got my Game Boy Advance. Because originally I had a PlayStation 1 back whenever I was 5 or maybe a little older. And I wasn't all too interested in. I mean, I enjoyed playing the PS1, but I wasn't all too interested in playing it all the time. But then whenever I got my Game Boy Advance and started playing games like Pokemon and all that, I put way too many hours into playing games. And then I hopped back onto the PS1 and played a lot on that.
so that was 5 years old.
When did the PS1 come out? To be honest, I barely remember my early years.
Wow.
1995, yeah, yeah. Oh, it was earlier than 5. It was probably like 3 or 4.
Wow.
Yeah.
And how about the competitive side of since like this year or even last year, esports has really gotten big with League of Legends renting the Olympic Coliseum in Seoul
Yeah, that's pretty crazy.
for and sold out for I don't know how many thousands of fans just sitting there to watch a video game world
Yeah.
championship. Are you interested in any way or
Um,
on the competitive?
Esports doesn't really interest me. I've never been too competitive with video games. I never really cared about how well I was doing against other players and stuff like that. Um, I do get on games and, play against other players, but I don't do it in a way that I care if I win or lose. And on a matter of esports getting big, it's really awesome, but it's not something I'd travel all the way to an Olympic stadium halfway across the world to see. It doesn't interest me all too much.
So neither participating or spectating.
Yeah.
Okay. And how about conventions?
I've been meaning to go to more conventions. I've been to, well, one, and it wasn't a very big one, but I've been wanting to go to a lot of conventions so that I can see previews of games and just generally be able to hang out with people at conventions and participate in events because it always looked a lot of fun to me, and I've been trying to save up money so I can do it more often.